Yeah, I'm presenting today the analysis on associations between job-related training and planned retirement age in Germany. A work I did together, or it's still work in progress, so a work I'm doing together with my colleague Georg Henning, and using data from the German Aging Survey. In the keynote from Annette, we just heard that upskilling alone will not solve our problems, but still it's an association I think it's worth to investigate. So yeah, we've already discussed it a lot today. Demographic changes put increased pressure on our pension systems. And in Germany, the policies are already moving towards a longer statutory retirement age. But what we see in this graph is the green line is the rising statutory retirement age, and orange and yellow lines show for men and women that the actual realized retirement age still is below the statutory retirement age. So this is just for a quick impression how complex the retirement timing is in general. It's multifactorially determined, and many influences influence each other. But what we focused on in our analysis is, I forgot to click here, is the association between the work-related variable of job-related training and the retirement planning on the other hand. Why retirement planning? Actually, retirement planning turned out to be a good predictor for the actual realized retirement age. And it gives us the advantage to include all employed individuals, not only those that actually do the transition to retirement. And we can also capture the within-person change over time. A short background, I'm just going to talk quickly about the two most prominent theories on the association, which is the human capital theory that would suggest training to be an investment. And if I do this investment, in order for the investment to pay off, it would be a rational choice to continue working for longer. And on the other hand, the social exchange theory is also often mentioned, which would say that when my employer invests in me through offering me a training participation opportunity, it would cause a need to reciprocate in me, so I would work for longer in order to reciprocate with my employer. And what we add also in our analysis is the lifespan perspective. So we assume that the impact of training differs per age. So we assume that the retirement planning also differs per age group. So we think that the impact of training is highest when there are more concrete plans on retirement but not set yet. So we investigated two hypotheses. The first one, that participation in job-related training is associated with a higher planned retirement age. And the second, that the participation in job-related training is associated with an increase of the planned retirement age over time. We looked at this question using data from the German Aging Survey, which is a cross-sectional and longitudinal survey representative for the German population aged 40 and older. And we used the waves of 2020 and 2023. And as I said, we also checked for differences per age group using the age group we call prime age workers up to 54, then those approaching retirement between 55 and 59, and those anticipating retirement aged 60 to 65. And we only included employed individuals. So this is an overview on how we tested the two hypotheses. The first is a cross-sectional analysis, a linear regression, using data from the 2023 wave on the planned retirement age. And the second hypothesis then is a longitudinal analysis of fixed effect regressions using data from 2020 and 2023 and on the change in the planned retirement age between these two measurement points. We controlled our analysis for different socio-demographic, also work-related and individual variables. In the fixed effect model, so for hypothesis 2, time constant controls are fixed, so they are not estimated. But for both analyses, we also checked for an interaction between training and age groups. First, descriptive results of our sample also was also already mentioned in the keynote that training participation itself is also age dependent, so training is more prevalent among the younger workers. And also the planned retirement age is higher among older workers, so it's 65 years on average in our sample for the oldest age group. And also a quick look at the change between the two waves shows that the increase or the share of increase between the two waves is highest among the oldest age group, and the share of a decrease in the change in the planned retirement age is highest among the youngest age group. So now we go into the statistical analysis. The first hypothesis used a stepwise linear regression. So here I displayed only the estimates for up to model 2, and model 3 to 6 I wrote under the table which control variables are added step by step. What we see is that the association between job-related training participation and planned retirement age is significant for model 2 when we add controls for age and gender, and is around half a year of a higher planned retirement age. It's also significant for model 6, which is the fully controlled model, also including work-related stressors. But we also see that it's not significant for the other models of the stepwise inclusion of control variables. So from this main analysis, we see that the evidence is a bit mixed or weak. So, and we also checked for the interaction effect, which, now I got confused, which is also insignificant in model 7. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, genau. So because the evidence was a bit mixed, we did some sensitivity or robustness checks. For the 2023 wave, we excluded self-employed workers, which first have been part of the panel. And when we excluded them, the former significant interaction of the 2 out of the 6 or 7 models turned insignificant as well, so there's no significance anymore at all. And we also replicated it for the wave of 2020-21, which was not significant, and same for 2017, because we also wanted to check if it's maybe a COVID effect, but in 2017, it was also not significant. Okay, the second hypothesis, as I said, used the fixed effects model. It's a bit more complex because time constant variables such as age are fixed, and we still included it by including an interaction between age and training participation. And here in the red box we see that the interaction that we also included again is not significant, and depending on the reference age group, we can see the impact of job-related training per age group. So in this example, it's the youngest reference group. So yeah, I summed up in this table to have it a bit better overview, because we run the analysis 3 times with the different reference groups, and this is summed up in the table on the left. So what we see is that the impact of job-related training on the change in planned retirement age over the two measurement points is not significant for the youngest and the oldest age group, but is significant for the middle age group, in our case of the 55 to 59-year-old employed or workers. Yeah. Here we also did the robustness check of the inclusion of self-employed workers, and here the results remain stable. I think the coefficient was a bit lower, 0.4, but still it was still significant. So our results show for the first hypothesis very mixed results that were not robust within the main analysis across different models. They were not robust across samples. Like when we excluded the self-employed workers, the impact was not there anymore. And it's also not robust across contexts, like across the different survey waves. For the second hypothesis, we also don't find evidence for an overall impact, but we do find a significant association for the age group of 55 to 59, which is consistent with our lifespan perspective. Perfect. So the conclusion is that training participation is not an universal driver of retirement planning, but it does have some potential because training showed to be associated with an increased plan in retirement age for individuals of the middle age group, and it stresses the context dependence of training, so there's more research needed because it's very general and simplified model. Yeah, and I wanted to mention also our biggest issue is the selection process, because we don't really know, especially for the cross-section analysis, what comes first. So maybe people want to retire later and therefore they participate in training. So I think this is the biggest issue that we have with the analysis we performed. Yeah, in general, this is work in progress. I'm new in this field, so if you have any comments or advice, I'm happy to receive them. And the last slide is a little, the last slide is a little invitation to use also our data set of the German Aging Survey, which is freely available, and yeah, you can just scan the code if you're interested.